This is the Angels POSTCAST, your instant game reaction for the Los Angeles Angels. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Well. Another game for the Angels. Another disappointing performance, but hey, at least the Astros aren't making it to the playoffs. Hello, Halo Nation. Hello, Halo hopefuls, and welcome back to the latest edition of the Locked On Angels Postcast. Coming at you live, as always, after every single Angels game right here live on the Locked On Angels YouTube channel and after the fact, both on the channel and wherever the heck you get the Locked On Angels audio podcast feed. If you don't know who I am, what is going on, everybody? My name is Gavin Carlson, former credentialed journalist in the LA area, spent 4 years covering UCLA sports with the Daily Bruin. It's been a rough stretch covering UCLA right now for Locked On. Did that earlier today. In year 2 with the Locked On Podcast Network, where it's your team every day. Our team is the Angels, and hey, the job was done before the game even started tonight. The Astros officially eliminated from the playoffs. Obviously, we were hoping that we could be the ones who would end their playoff hopes with a win here tonight. But obviously, with the Tigers winning, and I believe with the Guardians winning as well, it was enough to knock out the Astros from the playoffs, which is great, right? And so this day is still a good day as an Astros hater like we all are, but let's not be mistaken. This was still a bad game for the Angels tonight. Still not the best outing from Caden Dana. We all know that's the number one priority coming into a game like this, is seeing how our young up and coming prospect with on the mound, our starting pitcher, would play against a good Astros team who, they're not playing for anything at the end of the day, but they still had their lineup play tonight, and it would have been nice to see him be a little bit better against this lineup. He also wasn't terrible against this lineup either. We'll get into that, and we'll certainly get into just 3 hits and 1 run for the offense. Before we do, got to give a shout out to everybody in here. It's our second to last game of the season, which means it's our second to last show of the season. And, obviously this season was very exciting for the first half of the year. The second half has been brutal, but we've been in here as much as we can, and it's because of all of you guys. Artie Sucks, Chocolatey Cat Soup, Deshaun always in here being very kind, Nathan, we know all the other regulars, Angels win or Angels lose, Vinny, Mahoko, everybody, right? So shout out to all of you for making it a great year. Of course, we still have one more show tomorrow, but just had to put that out there. And without further ado, let's get to the main talking point in this ball game.
This is what you'll be talking about.
It's Caden Dana. Obviously, I do have something I want to say about the second half of the season, and I know there's been a lot of excitement, with Mike Trout finally hitting some home runs at the end of the year. I guess that's really it, to be honest. I mean, Joe Adell and Taylor Ward, a couple home runs here and there. Do want to make sure we're making something clear about the second half of the season. We'll do that after the break, but let's talk about Caden Dana. We know it's the number one priority, in addition to watching Christian Moore and hopefully seeing things from him. We didn't really see that tonight. Watching Denzar Guzman, hopefully seeing some things from him. Didn't see that tonight. Hoping to see some things from Bryce T, as always. Didn't see that tonight either, right? The offense underwhelming. But the number one priority, of course, is whenever Caden Dana starts, having him show some signs, having him show some improvement. And unfortunately, we didn't really see that today. The final stat line is maybe a little bit harsh, right? 7 innings, which is great. Just 5 hits in 7 innings, or honestly, we'll take that, and just 1 walk. But he gives up 3 home runs, 5 earned runs total, and that's why he now falls to 0-4 in his young career as a big league starting pitcher, which stinks, right? Again, it's a harsh kind of stat line in the sense that he only gave up 5 hits, and if this was a 7 innings, 2 or 3 earned runs, we would be sitting here saying, oh, yeah, Caden Dana, we love it. This is a great sign. Maybe we want you to be our number 3 or 4 in the rotation next year. But because of the home runs, certainly the stat line is a little rough. Now, first inning, thought it was going to be a start, a good sign when you give up a leadoff base hit, but then immediately get that double play and then get a ground out from Carlos Correa, able to immediately respond to some adversity and get out of it. But unfortunately, it's a one-out rally in the top of the second inning that gets things started for the Astros. One-out single from Yainer Diaz, and then Zach Cole hits just his 4th homer of the year. Obviously, a guy who was just called up very recently for the Astros. Hits a 2-run shot. It's a 2-2 pitch. Would have loved him to put him away. And you're not really mad at this pitch. It's a high fastball. The 2 pitches before, pretty clear, right? What the approach was in that at bat. You go 2 fastballs to start it, then 2 changeups, and then you try to get right back to the fastball. He swung at a high fastball earlier in the at bat. Unfortunately, this one just, he was all over it, right? 106 off the bat, 400 feet, 398 officially on a 95-mile-an-hour fastball right at the letters. Sometimes you just got to tip your cap and say that's a pretty impressive swing, and I think that's the takeaway there. He settled back in, which you always like to see, back-to-back strikeouts after that. So again, still would have been okay with it. The third inning, a 1-2-3 inning, you're just fine with what you're seeing with Caden Dana so far. Unfortunately, the top of the 4th will be the inning that makes this outing one that you have to question a little bit. Again, it's with 1 out, and at this time, it's a solo shot from Christian Walker. Not a bad pitch. Again, a 0-2 curveball. I don't think the intention at all was to try to go, back door or, front door, I guess, inside corner curveball against a righty. Don't think that was the intention. Maybe it was. Maybe you were trying to fake a high and in fastball, look, and then have it break into the zone. But clearly he's waiting for it. Another ball that was scorched off the bat. No other way to put it. It's a good swing. Again, you kind of feel like this is one you just tip your cap, but still 101 off the bat, 385 feet, his 26th homer of the year from Christian Walker, who has really become an impressive hitter. I'll be honest. This was a guy that was always a Gold Glove, first baseman, but for him to have 27 home runs this season, pretty impressive. That made it 3-0. Then again, you think you're going to see Caden Dana settle in. He strikes out Yainer Diaz. Second straight time he's responded to a home run with a strikeout, but then unfortunately things collapse here. He walks Zach Cole, very long at bat. You get up 0-2, then you just miss on a fastball in the corner. You hang a slider that he fortunately only fouls off, and then 2 straight changeups, nowhere close, and then a fastball not really close either. So unfortunately, that at bat kind of unraveled right when you're thinking that he's showing this resilience, this ability to respond to home runs. Didn't do it there. And then Jesus Sanchez comes up, 1-2 pitch once again, 2 fastballs, 2 changeups, and then a fastball right down the middle on 1-1 that's fortunately fouled off. But then he throws a slider. It's at the knees. It's not super low. Again, all 3 home runs were not terrible pitches. They're all ones that are on the corner of the strike zone or on the edge of the strike zone. But all 3 could have been in better spots, just slightly. It's a cruel sport when you're a starting pitcher here, because all 3 of those pitches were not bad pitches, right? They weren't great. They weren't bad, but unfortunately they took advantage of all 3. 105 off the bat, not even that deep either. Doesn't even go 380 feet. But just like that, it's 5-0. Now, again, you got to tip your cap to Caden Dana, his ability to go 1-2-3 in the 5th, 1-2-3 in the 6th, and 1-2-3 in the 7th, right? So 9 straight outs to end the ball game, and that's why I think this is still a positive start for Caden Dana. I say he shows his youth in the sense that what separates a young, high potential but low floor, type of pitcher from a experienced veteran who's elite is that ability to make sure your 2-strike pitches aren't just on the corner. They're a couple inches off the corner. They're not in a position where even the best hitters can hit a home run. It's weak contact or swing and the miss, right? Swing and a miss. And that's what's going to be the next step for him. But certainly his ability to have multiple stretches where he strings outs together, very impressive. Anytime that you can get 7 innings, that's something that no one on this Angels rotation can do consistently. You're certainly encouraged by that. And you can make the argument that it's his best start of the season, right? Obviously, it's his deepest. He goes 6 in his last start, just gives up 3 hits, 2 earned runs on the 21st against the Rockies. Didn't really deserve a loss in that game. I believe that was a game I didn't get to do a show for. That was by far his best outing. And then he responds with this, which you take away the home runs, it's a perfect outing, right? But even with it, you can make the argument outside of last start, it's his best. So at least he's stringing things together. That's what you want to see when you are playing for nothing outside of trying to shape up a 21-year-old that you're hoping to be in your rotation. Have I seen enough to be confident that Caden Dana can be your number 3 behind Kikuchi and Soriano? No. Have I seen enough to be confident he can be your number 4? On a bad baseball team, sure. Have I seen enough to believe Caden Dana can be your number 5 on a good baseball team? I think so, right? Because the number 5 does not have to be consistent, right? His job is to steal a win every, if he can go 1 win, 1 no decision, and 1 loss in his stretch of starts, right? You would take that from your number 5, especially when it's a high upside guy like him. Do I see him being the number 5? No, because I don't think we have any consistent starting pitchers. He's probably going to be the number 4. I would hope you at least go get a number 3 behind Kikuchi and Soriano. But again, not amazed by Caden Dana, not pissed off or anything by Caden Dana. If I had to grade it, I'd probably give it a B-. But it's really, really close to being an A- start from Caden Dana if even one of those 3 home runs is not hit, let alone if 2 of them aren't, or if all 3 aren't hit, it's an A++ start, right? So some good, some bad. I'd say more good than bad, though, for sure. Something to be encouraged about. Otherwise, the game was not anything to be encouraged about, and thank goodness we at least got to see him impress for the most part. We're going to take our break. When we come back, we'll talk about the offense, because if it wasn't for Caden Dana, and if it was really time to zoom in on this offense, another concerning outing. We'll get to that, and we'll also tell you why you need to, assess this end of the season properly. We'll do that after our break here on the second to last edition this season of the Locked On Angels postcast. I'll be right back. Now, on this Saturday, today's show, it's brought to you by America's favorite sponsor at this point, Rugiet. Guys, you've probably heard of Viagra or Cialis. Maybe you've even tried them. But if you're looking for something beyond the usual pill, it's time to meet Rugiet Go Long. Rugiet Go Long, it isn't just another ED pill. It's a total game changer for confidence. Go Long combines 2 doctor-trusted medications in 1 dual-action formula, so you can get hard and go the distance. The effects can last up to 36 hours. That's confidence all day, all night, and even into the next day. The process is simple. Connect with a board-certified doctor 100% online, and if prescribed, your treatment ships discreetly right to your door. If it's prescribed to you, and if you get that approved, it's easy. You don't need to tell anyone about it. You don't have to go to a doctor and see anyone in person. It's all secretive. So the only person who's going to know about it is the person you want to know about it, if you know what I mean. So if you're ready to level up your confidence in the bedroom, head to rugiet.com and use promo code LOCKEDONMLB for 15% off your first order. That's rugiet.com, promo code LOCKEDONMLB. Make sure to use our code so they know we sent you. And today's show also brought to you by FanDuel. The NFL season, it's here, and FanDuel has an offer you don't want to miss. Right now, new customers can bet just $5 and get $300 in bonus bets if you win. That's right. Pick a bet, put down $5, and if it hits, you'll unlock $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. What do I love about FanDuel? The memories, I guess, that are created by it, right? Like, I always talk about the time I went to New York and was at Yankee Stadium watching a game and was live betting. I was at a New York Liberty game and I was live betting. And of course, I remember seeing Yankee Stadium for the first time. I remember seeing Barclays Center for the first time. But you know what I remember more than that is that FanDuel paid for my ticket to both games because I won same game parlays in both games. That's what I remember, right? Even if you don't win your bets, it makes watching football, baseball, basketball all more exciting when you've got a little something riding on the action. So whether you're a casual fan or love diving into the stats, FanDuel makes the game day experience so much better. So what are you waiting for? Visit FanDuel.com to download the FanDuel app today and get started. Back here live on, of course, a losing edition of the Locked On Angels postcast. Angels just one run on 3 hits in a 6-1 loss to the Astros. Fortunately for us, the goal was accomplished today before we even had to play the game because the Astros officially knocked out of the playoffs. We will absolutely take that. We'll also absolutely take a Caden Dana start where he goes 7 innings. He only gives up 5 hits. Unfortunately, 3 of them are home runs. And so the stat line not as impressive as you'd like, and he is the losing pitcher. Still some things to be encouraged about there. Nothing to be encouraged about offensively in this one. Mike Trout goes 1 for 3 and draws a walk, but that's about it. Taylor Ward 1 for 2 with a walk as well. And then Joe Adell with one base hit as well, a double, and he, of course, got the RBI. But outside of that, no other hits, right? You draw 5 walks, which is encouraging, but you still strike out 11 times, and you go 0 for 7 with runners in scoring position. It's hard to score when you can't hit with runners in scoring position. It's hard to score when you can't hit in general, right? 3 hits is never going to get it done. Shout out to Joe Adell. He gets RBI number 98. Would love for him to get 2 tomorrow to get to 100 to cap off what has been a great season for him. The OPS 780. Taylor Ward's OPS now 793. Mike Trout 788, but no one else that great. You kind of see how this lineup struggles when you don't have a Nolan Schanuel in it, because you miss a consistent guy who's at least going to get on base once or twice. It also, of course, is going to struggle when Zach Neto's not in it, but we've gotten used to that now. And it's going to struggle when your few veterans in Logan O'Hoppe and Luis Rengifo can't give you anything. At least O'Hoppe did reach via a walk. Christian Moore reaches via a walk. Oswald Peraza reaches via a walk. But 0 for 3s from Guzman and Teodosio, a pair of strikeouts for both of them in this ball game. And it did remind me, right, that we're sitting here getting excited the last couple of shows that Mike Trout's hitting a bunch of home runs again, that we are seeing signs from Christian Moore and Denzer Guzman at times, that, Joe Adell and Taylor Ward are going back and forth with home runs and RBIs and all of that. But let's not, paint this picture a different way than we need to paint it, right? This has been a disaster the second half of the season. There's no other way to put it. This is really an Angels team that's going to finish the season most likely 72 and 90, right? It's just not good enough, right? And when you consider what this team was halfway through the season, it's what makes it even more frustrating. This is a team where earlier in the season, we were upset that they weren't able to get back to 500, right? That they were constantly a game or two below 500. And then look what below 500. And then look what it became. It became a team that just absolutely collapsed the second half of the season. Now, of course, it's an improvement from last year where you were 63 and 99, but I can't do it in front of me right now, but I imagine if you compare the second half of last season to the second half of this season, the record's probably the same post-trade deadline. The record's probably the same post All-Star break, right? Sure, was this team almost 500 at around the All-Star break and trade deadline? Sure, but it was probably 9 games better than it was last trade deadline, and yet the record's only 9 games better because the second half of the season was bad. Chocolatey Cat Soup says that was my exact record prediction, by the way. I know this team too well, unfortunately. Yes, he did call the 72 and 90. We'll see if he's right with the loss tomorrow. Obviously, we're not rooting for it. Would love to avoid having back-to-back seasons with 90 losses, right? The season before that, in case you forget, in 2023 was 73 and 89. So 73 and 89 2 years ago, could be 73 and 89 if you win tomorrow. Would love to avoid back-to-back seasons with 90 plus losses. Mark T says, I honestly believe Ray Montgomery just never had control of this team and was in over his head. Ray is horrible. I agree, says Cat Soup. And I agree as well. I mean, you don't know how good something is until you don't have it, right? And Ron Washington, do I believe he's the manager to take this team to the playoffs for the first time in 3 eternities? No, I don't think so. But he's certainly better at getting some wins out of this team than Ray Montgomery was. Yes, I think Ron Washington was it's kind of the exact issue or the opposite issue that I'm having with UCLA, right? UCLA, we just need a culture guy, right? We need a Ron Washington. What the Angels need is to go one step further from the culture guy and Ron Washington in order to actually leap into the playoffs. But certainly Ron Washington is a culture guy. He's a leader. He is a, knowledgeable veteran of this sport. And he's a guy that is respected by the young players in the clubhouse. He's a guy that, is going to get some wins out of your team that he shouldn't get. But he's also going to blow some games that he shouldn't blow, right? Versus Ray Montgomery, I don't think there was a single game the Angels won because of Ray Montgomery, right? There wasn't a single game this season that the Angels won that they wouldn't have won with Ron Washington. That being said, there were games where Ray Montgomery completely mismanaged the starting pitcher bullpen situation, completely mismanaged when to pull the starter, when to bring in the bullpen, who to bring in the bullpen. The lineups weren't great, right? So Ray Montgomery is no good. We don't have to worry about him being the manager next season. The question is Ron Washington, his health, what that's going to look like. Angels lose says Torrey Hunter should be the manager. Let's go. Angels lose, who, of course, is formerly Angels win. He has been, ringing that bell banging that drum for a while. It'd be interesting. Mark T says, sadly, we get someone excited by trying not to lose 90 games again. Yeah, I mean, it's a bummer. It really is. Already Sucks says that's the saddest bottom of lineup I've seen. Nothing but below 200 hitters that strike out. I mean, Denzer Guzman, I'll give him a break. He's pretty new. But yes, Oswald Peraza is just absolutely brutal. There's no other way to put it. One of the most useless trades I've ever seen. He should not be on the roster next season for sure. Bryce T, I don't know. It was a fun experiment. He's a great fielder. But yeah, Cat Soup says with Wash, we would have ended the season something like 76 and 86 instead of 72 and 90 or 73 and 89. I think that's probably true. I think you probably get 3 or 4 more wins with Wash. Yeah, I mean, I think, yeah, I don't really know what else to say. I think with Wash, it's probably like 76 wins. You're exactly right. I think with Trout healthy the whole season and with Wash here the whole season, maybe you're able to talk about a team that's 81 and 81. Not saying that Mike Trout is worth that many wins, but maybe he is. Maybe the combination of the two is. And it's not like 81 and 81 would have got you in the playoffs or anything. We're looking at a Houston Astros team that's 86 and 75 and not making the playoffs. But that's one more reason why it was absolutely laughable that this general manager, that this team tried to tell us that we were in a playoff race, that we were really competitive, right? Because he was saying we're really competitive when we were below 500. Guess what? Guess what really competitive would even be? Or guess what? Being better than we were, right? Being above 500 would even be. That still wouldn't even be really competitive, right? The Houston Astros are really competitive at 11 games over 500, and they still don't even make the playoffs. So it would have taken 3 miracles for us to be above 500, let alone in a playoff race. And that's why don't pee on us and tell us it's raining. That's what they were doing at the trade deadline, and we will never forgive them for that. But a disappointing loss. How do I want the season to end tomorrow? Well, of course, it would be so ironic that we can't ever beat Houston. We can't ever win on Sundays. We can't ever win on Sunday day games. And yet we're probably going to end the season winning a Sunday day game against the Astros to avoid 90 losses. That would be ironic. It would be funny, but it would be nice, right? It would be nice to avoid 90 losses. It would be nice to end it with a series win against the Astros. It would be nice to, exercise those Sunday day game demons. And so we will be there no matter what, right? We will certainly hope for it. We'll see if it will happen. Quickly trying to pull up the probable starter for tomorrow. It is Sam Allegary, which, not liking our chances there. TBD for the Astros now that they're not trying. But yeah, let's see if we can seal a win. It would be nice. Maybe at least just give us a base hit or two from Christian Moore and Guzman. Maybe Trout give us a base hit or an extra base hit or something like that to be excited about as we end this campaign. But we're going to wrap it up tonight. Enjoy your Saturday night. Always great being here with you. I take it for granted. It's a nice gig I have here where I get to talk about my team, the Angels, with you guys. I'm going to miss it. One more time tomorrow. Going to be an interesting day for me because I will be doing the show while watching the Rams game because the Rams play at 1. Of course, I got my post-game squad show tomorrow with Brock and D-Mac for the Rams. That'll be at around 4:30. But I will be doing this show around 2:45, 3-ish while the Rams game is going on. So if you see my eyes drifting while I'm talking, you'll know I'm not getting distracted by anything else other than Rams football. I'll see you back here tomorrow for the final Angels game of the season, the final Angels postcast of the season, and then the Rams after that. Chocolatey Cat Soup says, thanks, Gavin. Appreciate your commitment to the show, even with this horrific team. Same to you guys, right? Everything you say to me, yes, it's true, but it's even more true with you guys. Not only do you guys have to be committed to this team, you have to be committed to then me talking about this team, right? So I appreciate you guys. And there he is, the legend himself, the Super Halo Bro, Big Mike Frishin here saying, great work all year, my friend. Hey, appreciate it. It was an honor to move from, the separate Locked On channel onto this channel all season long. Excited for what we're going to continue to do together on this show and on this channel next year. Deshaun, always with kind words. He says, great show, broski. One more tomorrow. I'll see you guys again. It's going to be one of those crazy days for me where I'm doing the Angels show while having to get ready for the Rams show. But hey, I wouldn't want it any other way. And certainly it's been brutal for the Angels. It's been brutal for my Bruins as well. But you guys make it what it's about, right? You guys make it worthwhile. So take care. We'll see you back here tomorrow for one more Angels game and one more Angels postcast of 2025. Have a great Saturday night, and I'll see you on Sunday.